everyone, welcome to Thoughts and Treasures. My name's Connie and this is my craft room. Welcome in. I do want to first start by saying if you guys are new to me and you don't want to miss out on any of my videos, please be sure to subscribe or follow depending on where you're watching from so you don't miss out when I do put a new video. I usually put about 4 out per week, so you don't want to miss them. Tonight, we are going to be working on this little guy. Yes, it is July, and we are doing Christmas in July this month. Not this week. Lord. This month. So the entire month of July, I'm going to be doing Christmas projects so that we're ready for Christmas when it comes. Why not? It's just fun. So this is our little Jingle All the Way Reindeer Pallet Board Kit. If you're interested, you can definitely message me. You can just comment Rudolph. Comment reindeer. I know Rudolph's a reindeer, but still. Comment reindeer, and then I can get you the information that you may want. Or if you know, you can just message me. Either way. So, I do want to start by explaining about my kits. If you guys are new to me and you've never got a kit from me, they are done sometimes in 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. It just works out nicely that way. So, I'm going to take this tape real quick, and I'm going to explain that like these little pieces are all done in 1/8 inch. It just works nicer with the laser that I currently have. And I'm just going to put them on here because I'm going to do them all in white. And you do want to be careful. You do want to be extremely careful because they will break, not just by handling them, but by putting them on and off the tape. But I'm going to put them all on there so that when I paint them, I know they're going to be white. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other pieces. And I'm going to do these all in white. Everything, except for his nose, is going to be done in white and black. Alright, so, this is going to, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to do our little snowflakes in white. And this just makes it nice and easy so that when you are painting a variety of things, you don't have to like have paint over here and paint over there. And I'm also going to do this little bell in white. And you'll see why. And we could do them in silver. We may do them in silver. Why not? Like, we could do that. And then the last two pieces that I'm going to take off of here, and then I'll get down to the nitty-gritty with explaining the rest of it, is going to be his little nose and his eyeballs. And of course, we're going to do his little eyeballs black, and his little nose, or big nose, little eyeballs and big nose. We're going to do that red, of course, because, you know, it's Rudolph. So, with my thicker pieces, these are 1/4 inch, you're going to have a masking on them. This will have to be removed. So, wherever there's score marks, these score marks are only intended for placement purposes, while the eyeballs are the eyeballs. The eyebrows are not, and but you'll see that when the laser scores anything, it's pretty much like cutting. It's just not deep. So when you pull this off, you're going to see that wherever there was a score mark, you're going to have pieces that come off. So you just want to make sure that you get all of them off. And this is just a fun little Christmas jingle all the way. You know, it could be for your children. It could be for adults. You know, it's very, very versatile. We all love decorating for Christmas. I mean, I know I do. I don't know about you. Do you guys like decorating for Christmas? Christmas seems to be the biggest holiday everybody decorates for. And it's just so much fun. So we all like doing different crafts. And I've had this kit for a while. I believe I had it in the yard sale. I don't even know what I'm talking about. In a live sale several months back. If not last year. I'm not sure. Because I usually do my live sales. If you guys are not familiar with my live sales, I hold them every other Sunday. And you can go to my website. It's going to be there soon. I'm going to have a flyer saying which days of the month, or which days of each month I will be holding them. But you might want to check it out. I do live kits, DTF transfer stickers, sometimes tumblers, printables, you know, all that stuff. So it's just fun, lots of fun crafting stuff. So there's our one piece. So what the masking does, it just helps us protect the wood. So we're going to do the same thing with these pieces. And again, these marks here are just simply for scoring for placement purposes. that is all that they're there for. And let's see if we can get this off on one piece. Nope. Didn't happen. So it's nice. Sometimes it's nice to have the score mark. Sometimes it's not. It is a preference, but not all of my kits do have score marks, but a majority do, and it just is nice for placement purposes, but it doesn't leave you anything for your own creativity. So I know sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's okay. Just getting all these pieces off, and I'm just using a little vinyl picker. I got this, actually got it free with vinyl that I ordered years ago. So there's our little one, and then we're going to do this one. I hope this didn't get cut off. If it did, we're just going to do it anyway, and I'll use the back. I'm looking at it now, like the letters are cut off. If it is that case, I'm just going to use the back. If you order one, it will not be like this, but you know, I'm not going to waste this just because of that. So I'm going to put the letters on here to see if they fit before I figure out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Quality control, but you know what? This one's for me, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. And again, I can fix it by doing the back. I think it's going to roll away. I'm going to pick all this off. This is probably, you know, one of those things you probably want to do one day because you're like, I mean, it's not as bad as you think it is. It just can be a little frustrating when you're trying to get all these little pieces off. And in the beginning, I was pulling them all off for everybody, but look, I'm going to be honest, I don't have that kind of time. It's, like I said, it's, you know, it takes a little bit, but it's not difficult to do. And besides, it helps protect the wood too if you don't do it right away. Now, my kits do come in wrapped up, so it's not like they're just exposed all in different pieces, but it still helps prevent, you know, say if something, a hole gets in there that gets wet or something like that, you know, you still have that protection. All right, let me put this on here, because like I said, if it doesn't, so when I'm talking, like, don't just yank this off, kind of like pull your tape away. Yeah, see, it's going to be off. Let me see what happens. Maybe it's supposed to, oh, it is supposed to be like that. Okay, never mind. We're going to leave it. It's supposed to be like that. It wasn't cut. I've never done this kit before. This is the first time I'm doing the kit. So it's supposed to be like that so it hangs off. But see how the letter hangs off? That's the way it's supposed to be. I'm looking at the picture. To make sure, because you know I need to know where things go. And then we're going to pull our last piece off. I was thinking, wow, I think I cut it off. I didn't think I did it, but I just apparently might have, but no, I didn't. It's the way it's supposed to be. The words are supposed to hang off. All right, see? If you do not know, I do these recordings live, or not live, non-edited. So what you get is what you get. I could add that, I could edit that out, and then you'll never know that I ever said that, but guess what? I want you to experience everything like it is experienced with me. All right, I'm going to do my palette board in red. So I'm going to choose crimson. Let's put you over here so you don't get all messed up. We're going to use crimson and Waverly, and I'm going to do the back and the front, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to dry brush some white into the board. Oh, maybe I'm going to use this. There it goes. I'm going to dry brush some white in, just on the front. I'm not worried about the back part. And I'm going to do these 2 pieces in the crimson also. So a lot of it's going to be done in the crimson. And I'm hoping this is going to be a pretty color. Just going to get everything painted. This one's starting to get a little bit thick on me, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. Let me see what I'm doing now. So the entire month of July, this project is being done on the 1st. You'll see it on the 2nd. That's just how it works. But for the entire month of July, whenever I put a video up, it will be done in Christmas themed. I just figured this would be a nice alternative than just, doing some summer projects. And why not just start thinking about Christmas? It's less than 6 months away, so why not? We all love preparing for Christmas. During my live sales, I put in 1 Christmas project for the kit each sale. It just gives you, a head start. That's why I said I keep the masking on also, so that if you want to wait to do that project till later on, it's still available, or it's still ready, there for you. It's still wrapped up and it's still with the masking on, and protects it. All right. Now, I do not do the sides. I like to keep my sides in the dark laser cut. If that is not your thing, you can definitely paint over them. I just don't like doing that. I like the darkness of it. I just think it looks good. Alright, I think that's good. This is just the back, so I'm going to dry this real quick so I can flip it over and do the front. This does have holes in the top for the hanger, of course. What was I gonna say? Oh, you want to make sure you put the right parts on the right place. That is the only difference. I was going to leave the holes out on this one because I'm not going to put a hanger on it this time. I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm going to leave the option to put the hanger on because I'm not sure what kind of hanger I want to put on this yet. It can be more like a leaning sign if you want it to be. And when I cut it out, I was going to leave the holes out, and I forgot all about it. So I could cover them up. I'm going to decide as we go along. But I just want to get this nice and dry so that we can flip it over and I can do the front. So I am going to do like a little whitewash on it. I may actually put a little dark black onto it too around the edges, just to give it a little rustic look. So what I'll do first is I'm going to paint it red, then we're going to put the whitewash of the red on it. That is still soaking wet. I'm not sure what I'm thinking. Still a little wet, but that's okay. See the little holes here? I was going to leave it off so that we could just use it as a leaner, but I forgot. So I'm going to decide. I may just leave the hanger off for now and decide later what I want to do. But we'll see. I could always put the bar up there, but the bar goes here. Decisions. I mean, it's not a big issue. You can have holes and still have it as a leaner. And I wasn't going to recut this just for that purpose and waste the wood. That was just not necessary. It's actually a very pretty color. Not very red, but nice little darker red, which is going to look nice with the whitewash and the black around. So what I'm going to do with the black is I'm just going to do it around the edges. You can use black, you could use antique wax. I think I'm just going to go ahead and use the black. I am going to do my reindeer in, shoot, did I put it there? Nope. Nutmeg. That is like one of my favorite brown colors. And I think it's perfect for the reindeer. I think that's good. Now while I have this out, let's see, where's his nose? We're just going to do the nose in the same red color. And is that all I'm going to do red? I think that's all I'm going to do red. Alright, so let's put this back down over here. Let's close our red up. Give this a good dry. You know, it's never too early to start thinking about Christmas. A lot of us have craft shows that we do, or you know, family functions that we have to make things for. What, you know, what they call white elephant gifts, things like that. So there's always, there's never a wrong time for Christmas. I mean, by the time Christmas comes, we're so busy doing other things that it just gets out of hand. All the stuff that we have to do. And I want to make sure this is completely dry, because if you start mixing white onto it, it's going to start looking pink. We don't want no pink. Nothing against pink, but we don't want it. And before I dry brush it, I am going to sand it down a little. I always like to sand because it takes, when you paint something, the wood fibers start to come up from the paint. So I'm just going to take this, get the smooth side. I'm not taking anything off, I'm just brushing down. Just getting it smooth. If a little bit comes up, it's okay. That right there I'm not worried about anyway, because the reindeer is going to cover it up. So that's all I'm going to do. And it also makes it nice that, you know what, I should paint, guess I should dry the back side a little bit more. When you glue two things together, it's always nicer when it's smoother. I'll wipe this up before we get more stuff on our Look, this isn't really about being neat cleaning this off. It's more about just I don't want to get the paint all over everything. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find me a plate. I don't know where they are, down here. I'm going to get me some white paint. Move this out of the way. Make sure this is here. Is this one open? No, this is the open one, I bet. Yeah. So I'm just going to not open this over top of that. Put a little bit of white paint in here. It's very, very runny. I don't know why. And before I start doing everything else, I'm just going to dry brush this. Now, there are several ways you could dry brush. I'm just looking for my chippy brush. I'm going to use a chippy brush this time. But, I mean, it's not really dry brushing. I mean, you can just use a regular brush. The chippy brush kind of gives it that rougher look. You can also take like a sponge and, you know, take as much off those green scrubby sponges. They really work well too. So I'm just going to basically load the paint on, and I'm going to take off as much as possible. You can always put more on as you go, but I'm going to take all of the paint off, as much as I can take off, and then I'm just going to get all this nonsense off. Where'd that stuff come from? And I'm just going to go downward, one direction, just because that's what I'm going for on this. I don't want a lot. I just kind of want to just give it a little bit of white in there. As you can see, that's all I want. Oh shoot, I forgot to paint the other pieces. Hold please. All right, let's put this to the side a second. I did all that and I forgot to paint these two pieces. I looked for them to paint the white. See, this is all real time. I don't play on here. Make sure that's all taped off. Okay. I'm not going to worry about the back on these because that is just for gluing onto the back of that, so you're never going to see it. And I did get a whole bunch on there, and I don't want that there at all. So now the score marks on this are just for placement. You may have a little bit of a hard time seeing it depending on what color you put down on it. If you do want the score marks there so you can see better, then you can always do the pounce method or the dab method, or however you want to call it, using a makeup sponge or something of the sort so that you don't get any of the paint inside of those lines. I only do that when it is a design that I definitely still need to have. If it's just for placement, I wing it. Because it's a lot of work on your arm. It does take it, especially if you're doing a large area. Got it on the side too. Like I said, I try to keep the paint off the side. If you do get it on the side and it dries, then you can always use a marker. Paint marker, you can use paint, anything to get it off, or you know, if it's dried on. But 90% of the time you can just wipe it off with a wipey. Get these two pieces dried. Because I do want to put some whitewash on here too. And I'm going to do the whitewash on this one, but this way. This feels a little different. Then I want to make sure it's completely dry because I don't want no paint. do the same thing with this sanding block. Not sanding off. Oops, see? So this is what happens when you don't get all of the masking off. Right there. Wham. So what happens is the tape then gets wet and then comes up. So I missed a piece, but that's okay. We can just go back over it. It's not ruined. I'm going to dry that again. I did get paint all over the side, so let's make that, fix that. Now let's try it again. So I'm just going to load some on, take the block, most of it off, and then I'm just going to swipe. Just giving it that little bit of effect. Good with that. Looks perfect. Give that a good dry a little bit. I'm going to put these to the side. Now, before I do the black part, I'm going to use this white paint to paint all these little guys over here. And then my snowflakes and stuff. Actually, I think I'm going to see if I have a little dabber. I haven't used these guys in a while, so I'm going to try one. I'm going to use this little dabby thing. So we're just going to possibly dab over our letters. And I'm not dabbing hard because I don't want to go around the side and everything. And I'm probably going to have to do a couple coats, and that's fine. Just take your time. You can use a makeup sponge to do this. Just kind of gets it on the top of the surface. And with white, you know how white is. You got to probably do 3 or 4 coats of it to at least 2 to get the brightness that you want. I'm going to give this a dry in between. Actually, while we're doing that, I'm just going to do these pieces over here too. Let's do our little snowflakes. All right. Now we're going to go back over with the second coat. I'm actually going to put, I'm going to shake this up first. Hold on. Put a little bit more there. It's a little bit more solid. Because that was very runny. Go around. Back over this. Second coat always seems a little bit faster. And then I'll decide after this coat if we need to do more. I think I'm going to do my bell in the silver. We're going to dry the white first and see if I need to go back, touch any places up. So if you guys are not familiar with my website, I'll tell you about that while we're painting these. I do have a website, it's thoughtsofchatreasures.com. It is not a website to purchase items from. I don't have it set up that way at the moment, at this time, which is June of 2025. But that doesn't mean it will never be that way. It is more of a looky-loo. I do put my projects on there. You can watch all my videos of all the projects on there. And it's a nice way to find it. So if you don't want to go search on the YouTube, you don't want to go to search on the Facebook, you can just simply go there and look and go, oh, when did she do that? Let me see how that turned out. And then you can just watch the video. So it's a nice way to see the items, and if there is something you're interested in, you can always just message me and we can discuss that. So all the items on there, 99% of them are kits that I have done or can do for you. Some of them are not, depending on what they are, but you know, you can always ask. If it's a vinyl project, you know, you can definitely do the cutout. I mean, there's just things that I can sell, maybe not the entire thing, but I can definitely help you out. So that's thoughtsofchatreasures.com. Everything I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok is Thoughts to Treasures. So we're all over the place. All right, so I think that looks pretty darn good. So I'm gonna put that over to the side. Let's paint our little Hoochie Bob. What's the thing called? A jingle bell. And I'm gonna get some of the silver. And there's one open. let's see. Let's use this. Do black eyes on that, but so this is just, it's gloss enamel. It's only metallic color I have. So we're just gonna go with it. Yeah, let's just take this, because you know, silver bells, right? Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that because I want that line there. So this is where I'm going to show you. So on this little guy, here's a good example. On this little guy, see the little line going across? I don't want to get paint in that because that's part of the design. I want you to be able to see that forever and ever. So I'm just going to take a little makeup sponge. That part, that's okay. And then I'm just going to, you know, offload. Again, you're going to load and then offload. You don't need a lot on there. Just load it up and load it off. You can always go back. It's kind of like stenciling. Less is more. And then you can go back. So what this does is you're keeping the paint, instead of brushing and digging it into the lines and into the, you're just keeping it above. And you're not like smearing, is that a good word? Smearing it in. You're just keeping it above. Kind of like with stenciling, you don't want to get it underneath of it. This is the same concept, so the less is more concept works perfect. So just like that, you still see the lines. Don't you like how I hold it up there for you? So I'm going to go over this one more time. I think once I dry it. Just give it one last little bit. And then we'll let it dry on its own while we we'll do the, I was just going to call it a donkey. Lord, I think I need to go visit the zoo or get my CNC back out. We're gonna paint our reindeer. It's a reindeer, Connie, reindeer. All right, let's put that over to the side. And we have to do our little reindeer. I'm gonna do his antlers in a darker brown. And then him, I'm going to do in a lighter brown, which is the nutmeg brown that I was talking about. Love this color. Love it. It works perfect. On him, of course, his nose is not a important part, but you still want this piece, and you want his eyes aren't either. But you want his little brows because you want to paint them in after. You want this line, and this line again is just so you know the difference between in here. So you've got this line here that's not really of importance. However, his eyebrows and his little thing here and his little earpieces are. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of both. I mean, this is a lot to dab, so I'm not doing that. But I am gonna dab around those areas first. So I'm just simply taking the sponge that I just had with the silver. Get my silver off my finger. And take my brown, and we're just going to do that part first. So I'm just going to dab over here. Like I said, his nose isn't the major part, so I'm not really concerned. It's mostly his eyebrows and that little thingy part. It's like a good, and his ears. We're going to paint his eyebrows anyway, but I still need to be able to see them. And then I'm going to do his ears, and then we'll paint the rest. Now you could dab the whole thing if you wanted to. And no, I may do that. Put another brush in and brush out. And I'm already tired of doing it. I tell you, it's a lot on your arm doing that. I'll just come back in here, and I'm not so much worried about this line up here, but I don't want to get too much over it because we're going to go back in. And I'm just going to go around. Just goes so much quicker this way. Nice and even. Now, if he's too dark for you, you can definitely do a lighter one, but once we get him dried up and once we get him with his other nose on and everything, he's going to go. I love it. And I think for his antlers, we're going to go ahead and do, let's see, we'll get it. I like the burnt umber. That's too cool. Let's go ahead and use the burnt umber for his antlers.
Someone was detected at your porch.
Alright, and then I'm going to use a small brush just to get close to. I'm not sure, somebody apparently is at the door, but this is a nice, burnt umber is a very nice dark brown. And I could use a different brush, but we're just going to use this one and be done with it. Since there's not much to paint, but I did miss a little spot over there. let's do this. And we'll get this antler. They got my dog going. And then we'll get it dried up. And
someone was detected at your porch.
Sydney will tell him. I don't know. And then I'm just going to fix up this little spot here that I completely missed. That big. Okay. Now we can get this dried. Yes. Yes.
Do you have a cup for Ashley?
Yeah, the stitch one up there.
What's the show?
$28. Real time, guys, real time. All right, so there's our little reindeer. Now I'm just gonna wipe this off real quick so we don't get any gook all over it. The only thing I gotta do is I gotta paint his little eyeballs, and I'm gonna wait to do that as we get the black going. Not sure where to put this, but let's put that right there. So I'm gonna show you what it's gonna look like as we get it together here. So here's our board. Oops, see, I'm gonna put it backwards. There's our top, there's our 2 holes. He's gonna go in here. We're gonna have one board. Let's see. See, this is where I can't even see it. I think that's the one that says all this way, and this one says jingle. Well, I really don't think it matters because I can't see none of it. There's the jingle. Okay, so that's going to go there. That's going to go right here at the bottom. This is going to go here. And then I'm just going to line this up. Jingle. All. Yeah, I can't see any of the markings, so you know it's going to be what it's going to be. It's okay. All the way. And then we're going to have his little nose. But we're going to actually, I'm going to turn that on now too, because I'm actually going to put a ribbon around his neck, but I'm just going to show you what this is going to look like. It's looking adorable, looking cute, cute, cute. All right, so this is where we're at right now. I'm going to fix the board and its eyeballs, and then take the words back off, put the words over here. And I might add some highlights to him a little bit. I think I will. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap. I should have a smaller one, but I don't. I'm just going to wrap this wonder if I should get a smaller, I do have a smaller buffalo check. We're going to see if this will work. Yeah, that might work. I'm trying to think if I should try this smaller one. Nah, we're going to use it. I think this will work. But we're just going to wrap this around, so once the glue dries up, we're going to wrap him just like that and glue it down. It's kind of hiding his mouth area, so that's why you only have the line here and no mouth. Alright, so let me get the black out while that's heating up. I'm going to get the black out. We're just going to go around the edges. And I'm just going to take a simple, let's see, is this open? Is this one open? Yep. We're just going to take some black. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges with this. So again, loading on and loading off. And then I'm just going to darken up around the edges. And you can always put more on. I'm just going to go around the edges. I can hold it up like that. Now I do want to come up a little bit more. And I don't want it to be so uniform. I'm going to be careful when I do this. Sticking my hands in it. It's going to look like that. That one. Just doing quick little strokes. You can always go back and add more. I don't want it overly. Darkened. Just like that. There's two, and then we're going to do the same thing to the big board. What you barking at upstairs? And so there's our board. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. If you get a little too much on one side, that's fine. It's not, no biggie. It's all gonna look good in the end. Oh, I forgot his eyeballs. Darn it, little eyeballs. Let's just take a little paintbrush. Paint these little bad boys. Usually I don't do things this crazy. Hold them up in the air and do it. We're going to let them sit and dry by themselves. And let's put this there for now. I'm just going to give this a quick dry. I'm going to go ahead and glue my pieces in for the board and get that ready to go. Let's take our glue. And again, we find which one's which, doesn't matter. I think at this point, well, this one says all. Okay, so we got to put this one at the bottom. I think at this point, it really doesn't matter. You can't see anything. I'd have to get some more. And I do use the wood glue from the Dollar Tree. It is my go-to glue. I'm just going to line this up at the bottom. Press and hold. So this can hold, set up while I'm working on the reindeer. And I really don't know if there's a right or wrong to this anymore. I don't think anybody's ever going to tell, so we're good. I do need to get a new bottle of glue soon. So I'm going to line this up. And it's going to go right between those lines. Actually, I think I'm going to use a little clipping. Hold this down. Again, great thing every craft room needs are these little clippies from the Dollar Tree or anywhere. I know Dollar Tree does carry them. So I'm just going to put this up here where I want it to be. And we're going to hold this in place. See, every time you put the clips on, they do move it. So you do want to be careful if you want things even. Darn it. Would you stay? I think the bottom's in. So there's our board. I'm just going to set it to the side for a second while we work on our little reindeer part. Now I'm going to put this on first. Might make a tiny little bow to put on him. I'm just going to cut this down. Where did the scissors go? And then I'll cut off. I'm just going to cut a piece off. Bring my tool machine over here. Now, I'm just going to simply glue it onto the back part. And scrunch it down. like that. Glue a little bit. Do the same thing over here. And then I can glue more if I need to. Have that on the front. I'm going to cut as much of this off as I can because I don't want it to be on the back when I glue it down. Now when I glue this guy down, I am going to use wood glue and a little bit of hot glue just because it's going to be a little bit more lumpy here. But I think that's perfect. Looks great. Now I'm going to just make a tiny little itty bitty bow. Let's just cut it like this. So we're going to put there. So again, I can always cut this down. I'm not sure what size I need it to be exact. Look at this. Thing's hanging in the air. Cutting the edges off. Second. Tiny little bit of raffia. I know it's going to be more than I need, but I'm going to use a little bit of raffia. See what I'm doing here. Trying to do this. Little bows are not my favorite thing to make. But you can make any kind of bow you want, or you don't have to make a bow at all. Just a little bit of twine. Tie 2 knots in it. Drawer, put this back down. I'm going to cut these off, and I'm going to trim this raffia down. And then I'm going to decide if I have to trim the rest of it down. So there's our little bow. Just gonna play with this a minute and scrunch up my raffia a little bit. I like it to be a little withered, and I'm gonna decide. Well, that's not too bad. That's probably about a good size. And I'm gonna decide that I think I'm gonna put a little bit of string and tie that around it. So I'm going to get this twine. So I'm going to take my little bell, tie this here, and then I'm going to tie it. I think I'm going to have it come out from behind. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. I think that might work. I'll have to tie it super duper tight, and then I can just glue it down a little bit if need be. Alright, so I just tied the little bell onto my bow. Just like that. Now this is wired ribbon, so you know you can play with it. Oh darn it, this thing went out. While that heats up, I'm going to put his little nose on and his eyes. Get his little nose on there. And put his eyes on. Where are his eyes? Now don't worry about if the glue comes out. It will dry clear. It's not a problem. If it bothers you too much, you can take just a little paintbrush and go around, get some of it off. Simple as that. And now for his little eyeballs, or his eyebrows, I am going to do them in black. And I'm just going to go over with my, these are amazing acrylic markers, if you can see the name of them. I have them in my Amazon store. We're just going to color in this spot. Just like that. So far, so cute. Now, before I go any further, I am going to do a little bit of highlighting on him. So I'm going to take some white paint. While this is heating up too, so we're good. And I'm just going to, I usually try to keep this for just doing detailing. So I'm going to put a little bit of highlighting in him. If you guys are not good with highlighting, it's always good to look at an inspirational picture, anything like that. I'm just trying to think how I want to do this. And it's not really highlighting, it's more like detailing. Just giving some a little bit of something in him. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put some over here on this side. Just a little, just to give him a little something. I'm going to do a little bit on his nose. Let's see, how do I want to do his nose? And I'm going to do a little bit, and I'm going to go right here. It's always nice to have a nice brush when you do this. And the other side you're not going to see. I think that gives them a little something something. I'm going to put a little bit in his antlers. And now I'm going to wipe this off. And I think what I'm going to do, did you ever see when they do the little dots on them? Just a little whimsical kind of thing, I guess you could call it. I'm going to do that, but what I'm going to use is, hopefully I can find, who stole, who took, somebody took. I'm going to use the tiny end of this, the little score thing. So I'm just going to dip, and we're going to do dot, dot, dot. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Dot. Dot, like that dot, but and I'm going to do it on his nose. And that just gives them just a little cuteness to them. So before I mess him up, I'm gonna, which I have known to do, I'm going to dry him up, and then we can get him glued on. There's our little reindeer. Cute, cute, cute. The first thing I'm going to do before I put my reindeer on, because I'm going to let him dry just a little bit more, I'm going to get these words on here. Alright, so let's start with all, and I'm just going to use a little makeup brush, the eye thing, put a little bit on here, because you don't need a whole lot of glue. And we're going to start piling this on. And like I said, I can't see the score marks anymore, so we're okay. But I'm going to make sure that this is on the way it needs to be. That on. So simply just putting it together from this point on. And now we can take this this piece off because this is pretty much dry. Let's get our jingle. See where I want to put it. So like I said, you can always check out my website, thoughtstotreasures.com. It has all of the different tutorials on there that you can look at. Great place to find different items. It is not a purchasing site, so more of a blogging kind of, where a lot of information can be given to you. So definitely check it out. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to message me. Okay, and then we're going to get our little guy on it. And like I said, I'm going to see how I want to put him on here. And I'm going to need a I'm going to need the little spacer thingy, so hold on one second. I'm going to go get them. Because he's going to need the little spacers behind him. Otherwise, he's not going to lay flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get them. Here's a little puppy dog over here. Watch out, Sid. Because of the thickness of his, don't you lose that? So we're going to put spacers on him. And that's what's going to hold him on. So we'll put spacer there, and a spacer down here. And then we'll glue them onto the board. And like I said, once this glue holds, you're good to go. You are good to go. Now, this is super glue, wood glue. It does give a nice quick adhere once it's pushed down and a few seconds down. But it does take 24 hours to completely dry. Now I'm going to glue this right on here. Look, it's so cute. Let that settle. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. And then we got to put our little snowflakes on. I think this bottle's about empty. Finally. And we got our 3 little snowflakes. Not sure I'll put one there. we can put one here, and then we'll put one over here. Yeah, I think that works. I think he's good. Making sure he's on. And like I said, I'm not going to put a hanger on this yet, just because I really wanted to put it as a leaner. However, I forgot to get rid of the holes. I don't think it matters, but I can decide later. Let's put it down there. And I think this is really cute. And if you guys are interested, you are more than welcome to message me, or you have questions, please feel free. There it is. I think it's cute. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. Might have to glue that on a little bit better. Should be okay. But anyway, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you guys, remember, if you guys are interested in more of these videos, please subscribe or follow. It is the best way to be notified when I go live. I also have a channel. It is in my link tree. And I want to appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video. Till then, remember, thoughts become things and things become treasures.